welcome to episode number 3 of the Steam Machine. My name is Dalton, and joining me, as always, is my co-host.
This is Ryan.
And this week, woo boy, we finally got a game with some depth, and I am so happy about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this game was everything I was hoping it was going to be.
Absolutely. But first, I would like to throw a quick shout out to James and the JRPG Report. They are a podcast that I listen to quite frequently, and he gave us a shout out and told all his listeners about what we're doing here. So again, I would like to return the favor and say that if you are into JRPGs, which are Japanese role-playing games, as you know, like Final Fantasy, but of course, if you're listening to this kind of podcast, you know this information. If you're looking for a great podcast that covers news and new games coming out and keeps you up to date on all things JRPG, definitely check out the JRPG Report. I listen to it every week, man. It's been good. I've actually guested on it a couple times. It's what helped me kind of get over the heebie-jeebies of doing this show right here. So,
yeah.
The other note that I have, good sir, before we get into this, because I know we are ready to get into this.
Oh yeah,
is,
for sure.
Have you heard anything about this game called Metal Hellslinger?
Absolutely not.
Bro, neither had I. And I think I heard Metal Jesus talking about it. He's a YouTuber. And then I just saw an ad for it on Facebook, of all things. It is what, to me, looks like a first-person shooter a la Doom style.
Yeah.
But the whole time there's like a death metal track playing. And if you kill enemies on the beat of the song, you get more score. So like,
interesting.
I'm like, oh, please give me a shotgun and something with a breakdown. I'm all in.
That's pretty funny.
I think it would be pretty cool, you know. And it doesn't look like it's going to be like a AAA game, so I'm sure when it comes out, or if it's not out already, it'll probably be 20, 30, I'd say 40 at the most. But it looks interesting. I'm definitely thinking about having to check it out because you know me, I love metal.
Yeah.
Big metalhead.
Yeah.
But like we said in the beginning, this week's game, or I shouldn't even say this week. This is our second episode this week, so. This game for this episode that we are doing right now, Batman, Arkham Asylum. I went into this only ever playing Arkham City, so I wanted to kind of see where it started. Oh, man. And I've decided that I'm going to let you run this episode for the most part because...
Yeah, see, like, you started with Arkham City. I touched on Arkham Asylum when it first came out, and I only played a little bit of it. I never really got into the game, casual gamer, just pick up a game here and there. Yeah. Forget about it, lose interest, move on. Like, I never played Arkham City, didn't play Arkham Origins or Arkham Knight. So this, super excited to actually play this. Like, obsessed with comics and like the DC Batman universe galore. Like, yeah, it was awesome to see what they did with this game. Like,
I knew going into this that how big of a fan of comics you are, and I was like, oh, we got a good one to start off with. Finally, Ryan can show off a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know a lot more than me. Like, I enjoy comics, but you love them. But, so, where would you like to start with this?
Oh man, we could start wherever. Like, we could talk about just like the game from development on. Like, let's start with the development.
Hit me with some development tips, man.
Games originally started development 2007 by Rocksteady Studios. Tiny studio, only had one game made prior to this. I think it was called like Urban Chaos, a first-person shooter. Arkham Asylum.
Oh, real quick. Every time I loaded up this game and the thing came up and said Rocksteady, my brain immediately went like, we began to rock steady. And every time, and I was just like, oh, God.
See, me, it's Ninja Turtles, Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah, like, that too.
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah. Interesting thing about the Rocksteady Studios is like their main catalog is just 5 games, and 4 of them are all Batman Arkham, or like the Arkham series. That's it.
Well, they've done a pretty good job, man, I have to say.
And then, definitely saying like this game was great. A great job is kind of like an understatement. After you learn this fact, most games in most studios in development, say for like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty, they have anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people working on that game.
That's ridiculous.
Do you know how many people?
That's a lot of people.
Do you know how many people Rocksteady had working on this game? 60. 60 people completed this entire game. Nope, 60 people did this game. And in particular, one person spent 2 years just doing the cape alone. Over 700 different animations and sounds for the cape of Batman in this game.
I hope that motherfucker got a raise.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But this game is like a comic nerd's like it tickles every inch of a comic nerd's like bones. Like the game developed by Rocksteady Studios was written by Paul Dini, who is one of the creators of Batman the Animated Series from the 90s. Like,
I watched that a lot as a kid.
Yeah. So not only did he work on like the quintessential Batman cartoon and quintessential Batman storylines, he helped write this game, which is loosely based and inspired by the 1989 graphic novel Arkham Asylum: A Serious House on Serious Earth. The game isn't...
I did not know that.
Yep, the game isn't like shot for shot that graphic. It takes inspiration from the story, but it is not the story from the graphic novel. Very similar, but it's not the same. Like,
kind of like they took artistic liberty with it.
Yeah. And then...
I got you.
Going along with... the like references, like the writer from the animated series helping write the storyline for this game, they also took 3 iconic voice actors from the Batman animated series and reprised their roles for this game. Kevin Conroy as Batman, Mark Hamill as Joker.
I heard Mark Hamill immediately.
Yeah, and Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn.
Oh, cool.
You hear those 3 voices and you immediately know it's Batman, Joker, and Harley.
I won't lie. In my head, though, I wanted a mod where, like, every Batman was just Adam West.
That would be great.
Him being super serious, but him...
See, I want that... I would want that voice and that costume for the gameplay.
Well, not to spoil anything, but I do believe that the Arkham City version that we have, that we will get to eventually, I believe you have to beat the game first, but then you can run around in all the different DLC costumes, and one of them is Batman 66.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
One thing that I really enjoyed about this game is that the villains you encounter in this game are a mix between old school Batman villains and some newer school Batman villains that have become like an essential part of his rogues gallery. You have...
Yeah, makes sense.
Joker and Scarecrow both appearing first in the 40s, Poison Ivy appearing first in the 60s. Then you have Croc coming in the 80s. Harley Quinn, Zaz, and Bane didn't show up until the 90s. Like,
really?
Yeah.
I would have sworn Bane would have been the 80s, like in the big wrestling craze.
Bane is actually the youngest of all of the villains in this game, coming in 1993.
So he's younger than Zaz then.
Yep. And then,
dude, okay, real quick, Zaz. Holy shit! I need to read some comics about that motherfucker.
Yeah,
because he seems sadistic and
he's insane. He's his storyline gets botched a couple different routes or whatever, but there are some arcs, especially his first arc, which is just incredible. I can get you some of that information later, because I don't have it off the top of my head. But
no, yeah, all good. This isn't a comic podcast anyway.
Yeah, Zaz is wild. Zaz is wild. The game. The storyline revolves around something you've seen like similar in some other DC animated series and stuff. It revolves around what they call Titan in this game, which is a more powerful version of the Venom drug used by Bane. And through the storyline progression, you learn that the Joker has been using one of his oldest aliases to get a doctor at the Arkham Asylum to develop this drug and experiment with it in attempts to create a superhuman henchman army.
That bastard.
Yeah, that bastard for sure. Because these Titan affected monsters and henchmen and shit were no joke in this game.
No fucking joke at all.
No joke.
Better had that Batarang fucking ready, son.
But this game was everything that I wanted a Batman game to be. Like, I've seen Batman in some other games, and it was campy, it was cartoonish, it wasn't like... This game was dark, this game was gritty, and this game had all the elements that you would come to expect from a Batman title.
Yeah, man, and it was full of Easter eggs to find, which was great too.
The Easter eggs galore. Like, you only run into there's like 7 villains that you actually play against in this game. But there's Easter eggs for probably dozens of other Batman villains. Yes, like Clayface, Calendar Man, Mad Hatter, Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, Ra's al Ghul, Black Mask, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They're
The Ra's al Ghul one's cool, man, because like when you find his body, and it's laying there tagged and everything. If you go back there later in the game, he's gone.
Do you know why that is?
I do know why that is, but do you know why that is?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
It's a nod to a future title in this series.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. And the Black Mask's Easter egg in this game was also a nod to a future title in this series.
I don't know if I found that one. I know I found Scarface, the little haunted doll thing. That was cool.
Yeah. You see him more than once. Like you catch him early on in the game, and then you catch him at the end of the game. Like,
and right before we started recording, I made it a mission of mine to go find that Easter egg that Rocksteady themselves had to reveal, which was fantastic. You blow out the wall.
That was like a super Easter egg because they didn't leave any clues to it at whatsoever, like in the game. Like even in detective mode, which is one aspect of this game that I absolutely loved, you couldn't even find that room. Like
no, I had to look up what wall to find, and then I just started hitting it with explosive gel until it blew up. Yeah. And then, of course, you go in there and you find the blueprint, which is the warden was planning for Arkham City.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's funny that no one found that. But, I mean, obviously, like you said, I mean, they didn't make it easy to find. So no one even thought to look there.
No one thought to blow up a unmarked...
Yeah, random wall.
Yeah, random wall. Not with just one, but 3 charges. Who's just running around laying charges all over the walls to blow them up just to find shit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I'm so glad that they really made it a point and a priority in this game to be the detective that Batman actually is.
Oh, detective mode was fantastic.
He's a superhero, but he is a detective first and foremost. Like the detective mode and aspect of this game was everything that I wanted. I want to see him actually having to solve like logical puzzles and figure out the best ways to navigate scenarios, and this is what that game made you do.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude.
I don't know how you played this game on your playthrough, but I personally played super stealthy and tried to stay as hidden as possible the whole time and use that fear element of Batman when facing the enemies. Because like I don't know if you noticed this in detective mode, you were able to read the heart rates and the conditions of the enemies as you were facing them. It would show you their, like, if they were terrified, their beats per minute would be like 160, 170. Like, they would actually show you their physical... That's a cool
little detail.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that I went in stealthy. I went in more like, I'm Batman,
you went in,
motherfucker!
You went in knuckles a-swinging.
Straight up. Just fucking people up.
Yeah,
but that's because the combat was so fluid, and it really felt so good to just smash people.
Yeah, the combat fluidity was on purpose. They wanted to make the combat as easy as possible to show how easy those moves are for Batman to actually do as a character.
That's brilliant.
Like
tremendous.
Yeah, speaking of the combat,
I
found this really interesting when I was researching some of the stuff for this game. The original format that they had the combat set up and designed for this game was very similar to Guitar Hero. The original combat scenario for this game had it shifting from like the 3D third person to a 2D fight screen where you had to rhythmically time button combinations.
What?
Yes, it was all about combos and precision timing. So they had like the buttons flying across the screen, a la like Guitar Hero Rock Band, and you had to time them to get your combos down right to be able to take out the characters.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking glad they didn't do that.
I kind of want to play that version. Like I think that version would be really cool because Batman, being one of the top level superheroes in comic book lore, isn't actually a super. He's just a dude. Like,
no, yeah, he's just a really rich
he
guy.
represents like the ultimate peak physical performance of a human, but that's all he is. He's just a dude.
Yeah, he's just a really smart dude. He's him and was it Tony Stark? I mean, they're different canons, but it's basically the same thing. Really smart dude, a lot of money, and a lot of training, a lot of time to be training. Yeah. But that's interesting, man. Like I can't imagine like Batman in like a Parappa the Rappa style fucking kick punch game. Like that would be insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could get behind it. Do like Batcave or the Necro Dancer or something.
Right.
Sweet. Man, some of the villains in this game really gave me some trouble. Especially I want to say Killer Croc.
Killer Croc. Yeah.
Fuck Killer Croc.
Yeah, you run into him early in the game, like the very opening of the game. Like,
Yep.
you don't encounter him, but you see him. Big motherfucker. Like,
Huge.
yeah, like I knew through his different comic book forms, he's changed in size, but he's relatively been a big dude.
Well,
this version is a monster.
I will say that I'm an avid player of DC Universe every now and then, and Killer Croc in that looks a lot more like a crocodile in the face. Like he's got the long snout, and he's not quite as big. But this game, he looked menacing.
Yeah,
menacing.
Croc gave you issues. What was it like trying to find your way back out of the sewers?
Yep, getting lost, and I didn't realize for the first 10 minutes.
You didn't follow the distance marker, did you?
For the first 10 minutes, didn't realize what that number over there was doing.
Oh my goodness!
And I was like, oh shit. So once I realized, oh okay, it stays white and counting down when I'm going in the right direction.
That's funny because he was probably my easiest boss villain encounter.
And see, I think my easiest was one that you complained to me about, which was Poison Ivy. Like that did not give me any trouble at all.
No, Ivy gave me trouble a lot. I probably died about a dozen times going after her. The Scarecrow. The first two nightmare scenarios of Scarecrow really fucked with me too. Like
they did Scarecrow justice for sure,
and they did. They really did Scarecrow justice in this. And then the one thing that really made me love their version of the Scarecrow was how they did his boss encounters. The complete different leveling of the map and taking you to another dimension almost.
Yeah, and it became like a 2D platformer.
Itself. Yeah,
or like a 2D, 3D. You know what I'm saying? It became. Yeah. It was very strange, but I loved it. Yeah, it was great. Good change up.
Yeah. Like you were mentioning earlier, the character Zaz, how in the comics he's just absolutely sadistic. In the storyline in this game, they lead to him to being absolutely sadistic. He's almost like a non-factor in this game, though.
Yeah.
His encounter maybe took 30 seconds, if that.
Yeah, he wasn't very hard to take down. And I think, when he pops up again, he's not very hard to take down. So
No, he wasn't. You just had to hit him once with a fucking batarang.
Yep.
Bane was also shockingly easy for what Bane actually is.
Now, did you see on your way to Bane, did you see the telltale that you were coming up on Bane?
Yeah.
That little I didn't see it, so I didn't until I read about it that there's a little teddy bear sitting out there.
Yeah,
and then
teddy bear, Osito.
And then I started thinking about. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name. I started thinking about it. I'm like, son of a bitch, there was a teddy bear there, but I never put that together because I that was just something I didn't know. But I thought that's a really cool little thing to put in there for fans.
That's part of his origin story, But
yeah, I was not used to seeing Bane unvenomed, so it was very strange to see him hanging there.
Yeah.
Normal size, and then he got injected with the Titan, and Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
That was a fun fight, though.
It was. I had more problems with just the standard enemies instead of the boss fights. The only boss fight to really give me issues was Poison Ivy.
I didn't have too much problem with the enemies. I know Arkham City is not afraid to throw more dudes with weapons at you at once, so...
Yeah, the weapons weren't really the pipes, the bats, and everything that.
Those aren't bad.
They were easy to deal with. The stun batons were the fuckers that aggravated the shit out of me.
Those and the guys with knives. The guys with knives drove me crazy.
The knives were easy too. But those stun batons, if you got anywhere near them, you got fucking hit. Fuck that.
Yeah, they could fuck you up, dude, if you got too many of them on you at once. And not to mention the fights that were, the groups of enemies and titans. And those fucking dudes. Jesus. They're not easy.
Yeah. No, they were not. This game, the storyline was completely immersive. I probably, if I had the time to do it, probably would have binged and finished this game in one day. But I had to take my time, obviously with kids and everything going on.
The family man, yeah.
Yeah. I loved how immersive the storyline was to this game. Very rarely do I come across a game where I'm actually sucked into the storyline.
Dude, it was good, man. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. From the opening scenes when you're walking Joker into the asylum itself to when he just takes over and flips out, and then they introduce you into the game. I was like, oh, all right. And it's cool to me. One thing that I noticed is that this whole game takes place over the course of one night. So as the night goes on, your suit starts to tear. Your fucking 5 o'clock shadow starts growing in.
Yep, the 5 o'clock shadow. I had a couple tears in my armor. My cape was in shreds. Like,
yeah, you get fucked up as time goes on. But
sure.
I mean, damn, you go through so fucking much in one night. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was like a nightmare scenario for the Batman universe. Like, let's have the one asylum/prison that we keep all of the fucking supervillains from Gotham in. Like, let's keep them all in one spot. That sounds like a great idea. Like,
and did you hear any of the inmates that would bring up that they were talking about putting Arkham-style asylums into Metropolis and Keystone?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool that they put that in there.
Did you ever run across like any inmates or any characters that were begging you to help them escape, let them out, like that sort of thing? I
never did. No, I did not.
That was Clayface.
Really?
Yep. Any NPC that you came across that was begging for like help, like get me some help me escape, help me get out of here, help me survive. That was Clayface trying to escape in disguise. But I think I first ran across him in the warden's office. You go and you look in, like it looks like a mirror, but it's not like a mirror. And in it, you see the warden walking around, but you know the warden's not actually in the office. And then you go and talk to it, and you could tell it's Clayface because he has no bones in the detective mode. Like it was pretty
Tremendous.
Cool. Like another aspect of this game that I liked besides the story mode was that they really focused on side missions too that fluidly went along with the gameplay. You didn't have to go out of your way to complete these missions in the form of the Riddler trophies and the hidden riddles.
Oh yeah. There was a few different one of those, and then there was the Soul of Arkham. Those things that you find out. I only found 6 of those.
Yeah, the Arkham Secrets. Oh god, I think I found 15 of those.
But they really intrigued me to the point that like I want to go back and find them all so I can hear all of them.
I definitely am keeping this game on the hard drive so that I can go through and attempt to do the 100% completionist. Like,
yeah, totally.
But
totally.
This game, how many hours of gameplay did you get in?
Oh, I can tell you if you give me 1 second. Let me look.
Yeah. I finished off with 29 hours. It should tell you right on Steam. Like,
well, then I need to go online on Steam. 29 hours, man, that's not bad.
No.
That's definitely getting your money's worth.
I mean, it's not as short as Neptunia was, but this was a pretty short game for as merciful as it was.
Okay, so mine says 9 hours, but that was me being online. So I probably put in about 25 hours.
Got you. So a little less time than I did.
Yeah.
But where'd my notes go? There they are. Out of the 240 possible riddles in this game, how many did you come across?
I was disappointed in my number. Honestly, I was. I came across 86, and
86. Those are rookie numbers.
I even worked hard to get some that were like very hidden, and I still apparently missed a bunch that weren't.
I finished with 160.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I hit the 20 or no 18 of the 20 upgrades I unlocked.
I finished with 15 of the 20 upgrades.
How many character bios did you unlock?
16, and I am hoping to go
16?
find more because those really intrigued me.
I finished with 26. Did you go in and count your character trophies?
No, I did not.
Okay, yeah, that's not a number they put on like the screen.
Yeah, I just
screen
wrote down
in
what
the
was
gameplay.
on there.
But I went in and I counted. There's a total possibility of 20 trophies. I found 15 of them.
Nice.
And then for like overall game achievements, I unlocked 29 and 47 for a total of 75% completion.
I have 27 of 47 achievements and completed at 66%.
66%.
Yeah.
I think your low number on the riddles is what's holding back that completion percentage.
Yeah, more than likely, because I think that counts up for that, and I think it counts challenges too, which I haven't even delved into the challenges yet. Have you?
No, I haven't.
I know.
I was just so sucked into the storyline of this game.
I know that some of them are like which send waves and waves of enemies at you. It's like how long can you last type style.
Yeah.
I think some of them are like stealthy, take out the whole room without getting caught type stuff. There's just different kinds of challenges that you can get trophies and stuff on.
I think one of the achievements that I unlocked, and I think you unlocked it too, but it's one of the rarer ones. Only 5.8% of the people on Steam completed this achievement, but it was the mano a mano.
Yeah, mano a mano.
Defeat the Titans without using a batarang. God, was that fucking difficult. Like,
yeah, I managed to do that in, I think it was one of the first encounters with one. It was the room that had the electrical doors in it, and I would let him charge me, and as soon as he got super close, I would just dive out of the way, and he would get shocked, and then I would just punch him a bunch.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting that, and after that, I never tried it again. They all got batarangs after that.
I think the funniest achievements that I noticed I unlocked through the gameplay were the rope-a-dope-a-dope.
Yep, I got that one today.
Where you take out an enemy with an enemy that you have taken down with the inverted takedown. So cut the rope on another enemy.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That one was good. And then the other one I got, which made me giggle, was the party pooper. as you're approaching that final battle with the Joker, and all the henchmen are there with the party hats applauding you because you're joining the party, quote unquote. Just lay them all out.
Yeah.
And you get that party pooper achievement. It was well worth it. I
also loved there at the end of the game when you're fighting Joker and you pull him down the last time and he crashes through the floor, and you get that achievement called Big Bang, and then about 20 seconds later, Batman puts explosive gel on his fists and uppercuts Joker, and then you get an achievement called Bigger Bang. And
yeah, the Big Bang and the Bigger Bang are associated with the levels of difficulty.
Oh, really?
The Big Bang you get for completing it on easy. The Bigger Bang you get it on normal.
And the biggest bang.
And then the biggest bang or something like that you get for beating it on hard difficulty.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's cool. That gives me a reason to want to go through and beat it on hard.
You can't get the 100% completionist achievement without beating the game on hard mode.
Makes sense, because you need that biggest bang achievement. And I'm sure there's a couple others probably hidden in there for hard mode.
As aggravating as this game was for me on normal mode, I know it's going to really piss me off on hard difficulty, especially Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah, and those snipers. By the way, I don't think we've mentioned that yet. Fuck the snipers.
I never had an issue with the snipers because I ran around with detective mode on the entire time, so I could see the people through walls and stuff like that with his infrared or whatever. So I always knew they were there, and me playing super stealthy, super sneaky the entire game, just do nothing but come up behind them. I think I had more silent takedowns than I had like straight fist-to-fist fights.
Oh, no, yeah, no. Speaking of fist-to-fist fights, one thing I noticed about this game is that there's a little bit of what I like to call jank, and it was like the only kind I saw, and it was when you went to go mount people to do the grounded takedown, Batman would leap across the room and then land with the dude's head between his thighs and then just thoroughly sock him in the dick or the lower abdomen, that area, just boom, and I did that probably 50 times throughout the entire game, and every time it never got less funny. Like, I don't know what it was about it, but it was just thinking of Batman just being like, boom, and the guy just being like, ah.
It was a hilarious, like, glitch almost. Like, the animation was there, just the position of the characters.
Yeah, he just hopped on
where it needed to be. Like,
but damn, was it funny. Like, I'm glad they left that in. Like, I want, like, in my head, I like to think that somebody was like, yeah, we could probably fix that, but damn, it's pretty funny. And then the Batman's punching the dude in the dick. Yeah, we should just leave.
The creators of this were kind of funny as they were doing this game and stuff. Like, they left Easter eggs about themselves throughout the game. If you noticed on, like, the floors as you're walking through, you'll see some photos and stuff scattered on the floor. Those are photos of the development team themselves. They left pictures of themselves throughout the game.
I want to say that they are paintings too.
Yeah, some of the paintings.
But man, so a couple of the things that I noticed that I really thought was quite funny was Killer Croc. I did not realize that he eats people.
Yeah.
Is that,
all the bones that you see leading down to the sewer.
And I found one of his interview tapes, and he was just like, the lady's like, you know, what happened at that house? And he's like, they owed me money, so I taught them a lesson. And, of course, the chick's like, well, you know, the cops went there. There were mutilated bodies everywhere. They never did find all of the body parts. He's like, well, they should have checked the sewers. He's like, well, did you hide them down there? Yeah, about 8 hours later or so. I was like, oh my God, what a fucking psycho.
Apparently, they had added a feature to this game that if somebody had pirated this game, it disabled the gliding feature of Batman. So instead of the ability to jump from a height and glide a set distance across the map or wherever you needed to go, you just went straight down. Like, and it was like a funny way of saying, like, ha, we know you're pirating, so we're going to just disable this one necessary feature. Like,
that's fantastic. That reminds me of, there's another game in our list called Game Dev Tycoon, and you basically just try to create a gaming company that is successful. But if people pirated the game, all of a sudden your company started getting hit with piracy stuff, and your company stopped making money because everybody just pirated your game, and then they would be like, oh, it sucks when your games get pirated, and they would end your game. And it's hilarious. Like, I love when they do stuff like that. So was there a particular boss that you would like to see show up again in one of these Batman games?
I mean, it's not Batman without his typical rogues gallery. I'd like, especially it says what's the next one in the next title in the series, Arkham City.
Arkham City.
That covers a larger map,
much
than
larger.
The island of than the island Arkham Asylum is on. So it would be good to see the same characters that we've seen in Arkham Asylum, plus a handful of other ones.
I was going to say, are there any that you didn't see that you're hoping show up eventually?
I saw the Easter eggs for some of them, like Mr. Freeze. I'd like to run across Mr. Freeze. I think he's an underrated villain.
Yeah, he's cool.
The Black Mask is cool. Azrael would be cool to see. I'd love to see Talon from the Court of Owls. I don't know, like Riddler, you never actually came across physically, and I think it would be hilarious to actually run across him physically in one game, because he's not like a physical villain. He's more psychological, more cat and mouse.
He's an asshole.
Yeah.
That too. He's an asshole. He taunts you the entire time. You will see Riddler in Arkham City, but I don't know if you see him physically. But he does show up again in the form of finding his trophies and stuff.
Cool. And then I'd love to see, not as like playable boss villains, but just as like random NPCs. I want to see some of the random, more obscure Batman rogues, say like Condiment King, like guy carries around mustard
hold on.
ketchup.
Hold the phones. I need a quick rundown on Condiment King. What the fuck is this? What? What?
Condiment King. When did he first appear? He, like Harley Quinn, first appeared in the animated series.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he was created as a Easter egg to how Adam West Batman in the 66 series made a lot of condiment-based buns. Like,
what?
So, yeah. Like, Adam West's Batman apparently used to say shit like, I knew you'd catch up to me sooner or later, how I relished this meeting. Like, shit like that.
Oh, you know what? That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so the Condiment King was created as a nod to that for the animated series, and he literally runs around like robbing banks and shit like that with a pack that has some guns attached to it that shoot ketchup and mustard. He literally robs people with condiments.
Hey, I mean, if it works, you could do that to my mom. My mom hates ketchup and mayonnaise, dude. You threaten to squirt some of that on her, she'll probably give you her purse.
Yeah, but I would love to see some obscure DC villains thrown in there, like him and Kite Man. Like,
well, it would be really cool.
What would you give this game a grade of? 1 to 10. What did we call them last episode? Nep-Neps?
Yeah, they were Nep-Neps for that game just because it was Neptunes. But for this one, let's do 1 out of 10 Batarangs.
Yeah, 1 out of 10 Batarangs.
7.5.
7.5?
7.5.
That's solid. That's solid.
Because I know where the series goes from here, and I think I need to leave some room, I'll give it a 7.5. Yeah. Because really good first entry. Really good.
Oh, amazing first entry. Like, I'm definitely going higher than you. I'm giving this probably like a 9.25. Like,
I can get behind that.
It wasn't quite the perfect game, but it was damn fucking close. Like,
it really was.
It was damn fucking close.
It really was.
Like, and playing this game just has me wanting to just jump right into the rest of the series.
I know, right? I wish it would come up on our on our list here soon, but there's no fucking telling.
Maybe we'll have to bribe Steamy to just give us the whole Arkham series right in a row.
Right. I would do that. I'd be like, hey man, I'll bring in a printer, and you guys can hang out and do whatever.
Oh yeah.
Get all your beeps and boops. Well, yeah, man. Batman, the fucking game. There's nothing more that we really say about it other than it's fantastic. I recommend this series to anybody and everybody.
Absolutely.
Anybody and everybody who loves comics, likes comics.
Even if you're not like a comic book nerd or a comic book buff, but just still enjoy the Batman universe, the Batman series or whatever. This game is a must.
Absolutely. And it seems, from the looks of it, our friend seems to be waking up. Hey, Steamy, how you doing today, buddy?
Hey, Steamy.
And what are you bringing to us today on this fine day we have? All right, he has spit out a number, and the number seems to be number 507. And if I'm going to reference our list and do some scrolling, it seems that 507, sir, is Corpse Party Blood Drive.
Corpse Party Blood Drive.
I can tell you,
this sounds like a bad D-list horror movie.
I've heard that this, the Corpse Party series has really good reviews. People say it's fantastic. People say it's scary as shit. So it'll be fun.
Oh no!
Yeah, I know you in horror, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not a horror fan at all. And if this is gonna raise my anxiety levels, there's a chance that I probably won't finish this game.
That's fine. Listen, I'm not gonna make you, because there's a couple games in this list that are super horror games, and I know you have deals with that. So if you get to a point in them where you're like, oh, I can't fucking do this, I'll suck it up and I'll finish it so we can talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you, Resident Evil 7.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, I know we just added it to our list or whatever, but I had to just give it a play because a new purchase, whatever.
Yeah.
I had to cut it off, and I was only maybe 30 minutes into it. I just... Nope. I didn't even come across an enemy yet. I was just... Can't do it.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna continue marching on, but it's going to be, a year or so before I actually finish the game.
Well, it might be a few years before it comes up on the list, so you might get, lucky on that. Now, speaking of new additions to the list, I do want to say that the rumors were correct and Persona 4 Golden was released on Steam, and I immediately bought that motherfucker and put it on our list, so it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I saw that on the library.
I have not loaded it up yet. I've been good. I stuck to Batman. I was like, I'm not even going to start Persona until I finish Batman. Yep. So I'll probably, give it a check out tonight and then dive into some Corpse Party as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that about wraps things up for this week. As we told you last week, we are now available everywhere you can find a podcast, which is quite nice. And we are also on YouTube. If you go on YouTube and search the Steam Machine Podcast, we should come up and you will be able to find our videos there if that's the way you prefer it. Or you can find us on Spotify, Anchor, all iTunes. Thank you. Goodness gracious, couldn't think of that one. Any of those big major places. And as far as our social media goes, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to facebook.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. Or if you prefer Twitter, you have twitter.com/Steam_podcast. You are welcome to get a hold of us, message us, tweet us, ask us questions, anything you want. We're thinking about doing some Q&A type things with people if they want to ask us some questions to answer on air. We'd be more than welcome to, or more than happy to. We're getting there with figuring all this out, and we're glad that you guys are sticking around and listening to us.
Absolutely.
Any little final words on Batman, man?
Just I can't wait. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I want to further dive into this series.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll see what we can do. Maybe we can bribe Steamy with some data chips.
Maybe.
All right, well, that about wraps things up for the Steam Machine this episode. He's Ryan. I'm Dalton, and as always, take it easy.